You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily represent those of the network, its advertisers, owners, or sponsors.
Welcome. Thank you for listening. This is episode 235 of the one and only IT and the D Show. We have a packed studio. Guests this week include the man, the myth, the legend, Foster Braun from WJR's Internet Advisor Show.
Right, the man with the voice we all want reading us to sleep at night.
Seriously. Could make a killing reading bedtime stories, but he's live in studio. We also have Joe and Pierrette here from Narrate Networks talking about the Michigan Cyber Range, a couple cool projects going on. And last but not least, we have the team here from Nuspire, Dan and Clayton, talking about why wireless sucks and hiring IT people is hard. Dave.
Is it hiring people that sucks or wireless sucks?
Both.
All of the above?
Yeah.
Hey, so when you're building an application, you need it to be fast, secure, and always evolving. With Kubernetes Engine on Google Cloud Platform, developers can deploy fully managed containerized apps. Kubernetes Engine combines automatic scaling, updates, and reliable self-healing infrastructure with open source flexibility to cut down development cycles and speed up time to market. Click to learn more about the Kubernetes Engine. Visit g.co/getgke. That's g.co/get. GKE. And Bob, are you still clear on why they get to be G.co?
No, because they're not a registrar. How do they get G.co?
Because Google. I'm sure whoever got it, they paid whatever they needed. I mean, they forgot to be Gmail for a long time. Gmail.com went somewhere else. And then they finally bought that.
I want B.co.
B.co.
Me, because for Bob.
I'm playing.
You made fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom. And what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun? Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bunghole?
Exactly. Come on. Someone tries. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the D Show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. So, Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, this is Zach McGowan from Planet Earth. You're listening to IT and the D Show.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds!
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. The IT in the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Hey, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
Hey, everybody. This is Tony Todd. What's happening? You may know me from Candyman, The Rock, Sushi Girls, Zoom, Night of the Living Dead. A lot of pop culture media madness. Anyway, you're listening to IT in the D Show. Business.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, the Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
So,
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do?
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT and the D Show, broadcasting live as always here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. It's Bob the Sales Guy hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitters Walkers in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere. Fine podcasts are sold.
Give us a like on the Susu Studio.
Social. It's the podcast studio.
The podcast studio. Hi, Ming.
Still haven't stopped laughing about that.
No, and nor will we.
If you haven't, if you subscribe to the Ming and Mike show, Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men, we actually got to do an entire segment, about an hour and a half of us just kind of making fun of him and Two Man Luge. So if you get a chance, pull up the Ming and Mike show, the Motown
and
episode.
The place where the bartender that joined us works.
Right, exactly. I talked about that for a half an hour, but that was I listened to that one actually, the whole thing, and it made me laugh. So, good times.
He shot me a note. He wants to know exactly how we edit shows.
We don't.
Because the sound quality came out really well.
Because we're here. Hey, if you are following us around, we're going to be at the Great Lakes Comic Con this weekend. That is the February the 20-something 5th.
It's the 24th, 25th.
Sure.
23rd, 24th. It is Friday night from 5 to 9, and then Saturday, I believe, from 10 to 6, if I recall correctly.
Yep, and that's over at 12 Mile High, Macomb Community College, my alma mater. Proud and true monarch right here sitting in front of you. We're going to be there all, I think $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase's in the house. And
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Then,
William Catt.
Yeah.
Greatest American hero is going to be there.
Right. Can you, no, you know what we got to do? We have to go to the Greek place and get a Euro rapper and have him sign the greatest American Euro.
Greatest American Euro. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But then yesterday I discover the voice of Megatron will be there. So expect a new intro next week.
That's gonna be fun. I hope he's gonna be like the Larry Kenny, the voice of Count Chocula, who was like loved doing it and like lit up like a kid still.
Yeah.
Hopefully this guy's like cool about it, because that's the one thing we always meet these people. You pray.
There's only been one.
Two.
Still looking at you, Andrew McCarthy. Still looking at you.
JJ was kind of a jerk.
Oh yeah, JJ was kind of a yeah. All right, so 2. Out of how many though? So far, so good.
So something bizarre happened to me today, right in the studio, right before we started the show, and I don't.
I already said I'm sorry. My hand slipped.
That's another thing.
You shouldn't be walking around with that much lube on your arm. Seriously.
So I get a spam email from Loot Crate. And I usually kick. This is $5 sale on like t-shirts, and I go, I wonder if there's a couple shirts. I give all this stuff to my kids.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe there's like a couple shirts I like. See if there's $5, and I'll order a couple. I put a couple in the checkout, and I didn't feel like buying them. Yeah. So they send me an email going, hey, there's a problem. You didn't buy your stuff. And I'm like, no, there wasn't a problem. I just didn't want to buy it.
Right. It happens pretty regularly, right? If you leave stuff in your cart, come back and say, hey,
and there's an email, and that's fine.
Everybody does it.
Right. That's not intrusive at all. What's intrusive is you just send me a Facebook Messenger chat request with my stuff I ordered, saying you forgot this stuff in your cart.
That's creepy.
Loot Crate sent to me and not only that, it said if you reply to it, they get to own like whatever, like your privacy setting just went completely out of the window.
Woof.
They pretty much own your phone if you replied to it. So I can't say stop or say, choice word.
That's weird marketing, even especially for nerds. Like, as a nerd, I don't want you to I know you already can do it, but don't stitch things together and contact me on multiple channels.
No.
That freaks me out as a nerd.
Especially if it came in email and I get it, I see it.
Right, totally.
But don't you chat, and then I'm like, now all of a sudden you're talking about privacy requests on the top of it.
Did you sign up with Facebook, or how did it get
No,
your Facebook
I don't
Messenger?
know.
Ooh.
Like I said, I probably like their page.
And there you have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the future, folks.
And now I just I went through all the things going stop recording me, stop notifications, stop. Like I had to go through like 6 things.
Turning
now.
off all the things.
Right.
Yes.
Then like another thing is they send feedback and I go like tell us about your experience with them. So I'm like 1-star creepy. Like, you know.
Yeah. Here's a screenshot of
Right.
a messenger message you just shot me. Don't
Right.
ever do that again.
Tried the Fallout pop vinyl, got diarrhea. You know, like 1 star. But anyway, what else is going on?
So apparently Facebook is pretending that they are launching a VPN service.
This is pretty good, right? I mean, VPNs are good.
Right, VPN good.
You know, if you're doing things like...
And Facebook clearly has issues with privacy.
Totally. wait, hold on. How could this possibly go wrong?
They're a privacy company now?
You Big Brother on steroids?
No.
They would sell your DNA from
23andMe.
From 23andMe for a penny if they could make a penny.
Dude, I just got the kid, actually. I have to spit in the cup and
You're
send it
that
back.
guy?
I'm going to do it, yeah.
Come on.
I'd like to find out what % victim I am.
100.
Part Elmer's glue, pasty white. Oh, I could have figured that one out on my own.
But the interesting thing, if you're going through your Facebook privacy settings, there's a new thing that says protect.
Yeah.
And if you click on it, it takes you to a service called Onavo.
Yep.
O-N-A-V-O, which everyone thinks VPNs are good.
Yeah.
But Onavo was an Israeli company founded in 2013 with its sole business model of tracking the stuff their users do while using VPN.
Harvesting data. Yeah.
Yes.
So not only would setting this up on your phone or wherever else not make anything more secure, it would just get everything you believe about Facebook to be true becomes true.
So now basically Facebook gets all the stuff that Google already gets.
Right.
So basically, so this guy that wrote it on Gizmodo, who's like pretty candid about like don't ever download this crap, pretty much said, to put it another way, Onavo is corporate spyware. Like, to put it plain and simple. That's it.
So basically everything you do on your phone, then Facebook now knows what you're doing.
Everything.
So not just in the app.
And they're listening because the mic's on.
While you're watching
and they
TV,
have your contacts. They know who you're calling. They know all the things.
Oof.
But while they're spying on you, nobody else is.
Ooh. Randy, you should work in marketing.
So, better the devil you know, I guess.
It's a great commercial. Well, at least it's just us doing it. Ridiculous.
That'll be next year's Super Bowl commercial.
So, and this is one that, like, I had to say, like, you know what, Cisco, you got some cojones, you got some big, juicy balls under them jeans to make this statement in public.
Yeah.
You basically came out. So, like, everyone knew or knows, we've been talking about this for years, how corporations have been basically stockpiling cash in Ireland.
Outside the U.S.
Outside the U.S. Cayman, not necessarily Caymans, but like Ireland, where taxes were cheaper. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. They're a multinational company. They can do that. But now they go, hey, since taxes are fine now, we're going to move our $70 billion or $67 billion
Yeah.
back to the U.S. Hooray for Cisco. We're amazing.
Yeah.
And go figure, their stock's been going through the roof since they made this announcement.
I think they said 44 billion of it was going back to investors or something crazy like
That's
that.
That's what they think will happen.
Estimate?
Yeah. Yeah.
So their stock was up 7%. The interesting statistic in that article said that U.S. companies hold $1.4 trillion with a T dollars in cash offshore, 600 billion of that being Microsoft, Apple, Google, Oracle, and Cisco. It's crazy. So I guess that's a good thing about the new tax code, maybe?
Yeah, Apple's bringing back a majority of their $252 billion.
But why would they? Okay, now it makes sense why they did a press. Because I'm like, wow, why'd you publicly say that? It's like we've been, hoarding overseas and now we're not. But Wall Street freaking loves it. That sucks. Like that kind of sucks.
Apple's tax payment to bring this money, they have to pay $38 billion in taxes to bring this money back to the United States.
Wasn't it 11 for Cisco?
But basically, they'd have to pay it even if they kept it internationally, part of the new tax laws, right?
Right. So I think that's the difference. Is there's no more. Yeah. So it's not really.
Can't hide it because there's no hiding.
What happens if you're Ireland, though? Like you have like an influx of $1.4 trillion into your economy, and now it's gone.
More potatoes.
Potato famine. Yeah.
Potato famine 2, electric boogaloo. I don't know. I got nothing. FedEx is not having a good week. I thought this was oops. Well, actually, I guess it's a combination of FedEx and Amazon.
Actually, before you get to that, have you bought anything from Amazon lately?
Yeah.
Have you tracked the package?
Your Jabba the Hutt mug that just showed up.
Yeah. Have you tracked the package?
No.
So they're taking pictures of your porch.
What?
Now with the package on it.
Good.
Well, okay, there's good touch, bad touch. Good touch is they're using the almost like Ubers are using nondescript delivery cars now. Amazon is out of the Livonia/Hazel Park.
Right.
They're like white vans with nothing on them.
Yeah. I've gotten so much messed up deliveries lately because there happens to be 2 people with my number address in my block, which is whoever named that. It's an idiot. So it goes to the other street. So we're best friends now because we always get each other's crap. But now all of a sudden I'm looking, I'm like, there's a picture. So like I went out and I bought a damn porch canary, like for camera.
Yeah.
So now I can, cause I'm
I've had
wait
one
a minute.
for a while, yeah.
What's the thing in my neighborhood? Like they will actually follow the Amazon delivery truck, wait till they pull away, run, steal the package, and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. So now there's proof saying, yes, we left your package on your porch.
To see if it was stolen or if you're FOS.
Oh, that's kind of brilliant.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about the time, like those guys, it's like military. My friend worked at UPS for a week and it was so militaristic in terms of they counted your like by the millisecond where you were during the day. GPS tracked your truck. So like now you have to stop, take a picture, upload it to an app, or unless they have a handheld
or a body cam,
whatever. Yeah. Okay. Who knows how they're doing it? But that's just like, to me, it was like seeing a picture of my porch was kind of like,
So
you can turn it off quickly. Like there's a thing saying, I don't like this. Don't do it anymore.
So now everyone knows you have dirty words on your welcome mat, right?
Exactly.
Well, so and honestly, so where do those pictures go? And that dovetails in with this story where somebody found an unsecured Amazon S3 web service that was out there, where FedEx was maintaining apparently 119,000 photocopies of driver's licenses, passports, all sorts of other identification from all across the globe.
Names, home addresses, phone numbers, zip codes.
Yeah, driver's license and passport.
Why only 119,000? They have like millions of customers.
Well, apparently those were the only ones that had opted into this service where you could.
It was actually a third-party company that they bought called Bongo International that helped people do shipping calculations and currency conversions. So lots of international data.
Why would you have your passport uploaded it?
Well, if you're shipping things internationally, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More like Bongo. No, I don't think so. No, like the passport thing. Where are you good? I can see like the driver's license, credit cards now that now you have my damn passport.
Mm-hmm.
FedEx claims that none of the data was used for nefarious purposes, but
how do you know?
Do they actually
know?
You don't.
How do you know?
You don't. So
because you don't know how long it was that. Yeah.
Dave, me and you like a good prank. And
us, no.
But
I mean,
what
hypothetically speaking.
What's the best part of a prank though? Catching someone with either like that stupid look on their face or their pants down.
Yeah.
Right? There's like you got to see them to appreciate what you've done, or like you got me, asshole. Well, someone's been making speaking of Amazon, been sending sex toys just to random people on a whim. And
Amazon has no idea how to stop it.
Which I wanted to, like, when I read this, the first thing I wanted to ask you two, like, how do they not know who? Someone's got to buy it with a credit card. You can't pay cash at Amazon. So wouldn't it track to someone? So how does Amazon say, I don't know?
Well, so part of what they were saying in this article is that people were using like prepaid credit cards that you can buy
all right, I'm
at
CVS,
and and that's all you really need. And then you set up a fake, your fake account, throw away email address, and away you go.
What pissed me off about the article is that some lady basically tried to stop this. So she called Amazon customer service. They put her through the ringer, basically run around nonstop.
Yeah, this was the
for
creepy
weeks.
part.
And basically, they would not release the information of the person who did it. And they're like, we'll get a police officer. She conferences in the police. And they're like, yes. And then they're like, no. So basically, she had to play like a guessing game to get the name. Like, was the guy's name Mike? No.
Right.
Was the guy's name Sam?
Come on.
No.
Yeah.
Serious. It's in the article. And that's the part that really gets me. And apparently, it's people doing this for fake verified reviews.
Well, they said that's part of the theory of what they think it might be. That might be part of it is people that just like, buy shit that way they can be a quote unquote verified purchase.
Well, there's that new whole like shitty Amazon Marketplace stuff where basically any company can ship stuff through Amazon, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, weird.
But that's an expensive. Like you'd think you'd send like a pack of rubber bands or something,
or like a fart in a jar. Or
right.
Cheap,
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's not a cheap way to troll, and it's not. I guess he got his article so he can do the haha now,
right?
Which is the point of this whole thing. I don't know, man. That's too weird even for me to comprehend.
It's a little weird.
It's not like sending someone a bag of dicks and then they bitch about it on Facebook.
They post it on Facebook,
right?
And you sit there and giggle for hours. Yeah,
exactly.
No, and then Verizon was the other one that was really, really weird. Talking about personal data, and this dude is righteously and rightfully pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Photos of him and his girl wound up on someone else's phone,
and not just photos, intimate photos.
Yeah.
Now, how did he know?
Because the person who got them contacted him.
Oh, wasn't it his neighbor?
It was a
It was a former coworker.
Okay,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
So that's the weird part about it. It was just completely random. And Verizon's not saying how it happened. Wouldn't even admit to it having happened.
2-year-old photos.
Yeah. So, well, it was stuff that he had backed up to the Verizon cloud.
The numbers weren't the same.
No.
The MEIs weren't the same. Everything was different.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense.
There's really no logical reason why it should have happened. But when they said, and the guy bought the phone for his grandmother, and said, yeah, go ahead and sync all the photos and everything.
Grandma, what's with all these nudie pictures?
And now he's seeking a jury trial up to $4 million in damages.
Come on. Because grandma saw your wiener, you get $4 million. Is that how it works now?
That's not the biggest lawsuit.
Come
The
on.
thing that really got me was the guy who had his Microsoft Windows laptop forcibly upgraded.
He had Windows 7.
Yep.
And apparently he was perfectly happy with Windows 7.
He clicked the terms and agreement at the beginning. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Like, software. Like, do you not know it? Like, it gets upgraded.
So it was forcibly upgraded to Windows 10, which pissed a lot of people off, but it also bricked his laptop.
Yeah.
So now he's tried his OEM. He's tried for Microsoft directly to get a copy of Windows 7.
that's honestly, that's the part of this that I didn't really understand, is that he said he has an OEM copy of Windows 7. But now his OEM is quote unquote unreliable
or untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm like, well, wait, what?
Whatever happened to just give me another laptop? Now I gotta sue people. Like, if that ever happened to you and you're like, dude, I just wanted 7. Can you just like flash 7 on this? And
download it from the torrents or something, right?
Whatever. Yeah.
But I love it though. He's suing Microsoft for $600 million in damages.
Come on.
Or a fresh copy of Windows 7. This guy's brilliant. I love him.
He just wanted to get in the paper.
Frank Dickman of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's be friends.
Yeah. Dickman is right. Come on. Come on. So there's a little war in the browser wars going on, and I kind of like this one.
There's a lot of browser news this week, actually, right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, like with the ad blocker stuff. But this one was
well, no, that was a good one. I mean, Google's turning on their ad blocker by default.
Yeah. Well, isn't that well, no, because they use their inline ads for. Yeah, because it's not the sidebar stuff.
Yeah.
So I say, wouldn't that take revenue away from Google putting ad blocker on their own browser?
Well, they're blocking bad ads.
Yeah.
Basically, as an ad consortium.
The malware stuff. Okay.
Pop-ups, big ones that take the entire screen, autoplay videos, countdowns, flashing ads, and full screen scroll over ads. So that's basically the shit that all of us hate and cause us to use ad blockers. So I guess I kind of get it, because the more you're not using an ad blocker because your ads aren't pissing you off, the more ads you see.
Right.
As long as they're smart ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one is Google did a shot across the bow of Edge. Edge really, Google found a security flaw in
Had a
Edge.
security flaw, yeah.
And then Google announced it prior to Edge releasing a patch. And it's like, come on, Google, like that's going to bite you. Let's be honest. Google's not security hole free either. And if you say, hey, Microsoft, give them a call and say, listen, I found something. But now everyone's going to look for, a flaw in Chrome and announce that before. You know what I mean? It's just it's just a
responsible disclosure comes with things, right? You have like 90 days, and so they gave them 90 days.
Did they give? Oh,
they
sorry,
gave them 90 days, and they actually gave them an additional 14 days so that there would be something on Patch Tuesday. So they know that their patch cycles were kind of weird.
Okay,
so they gave them an additional 2 weeks, but they didn't patch it. So I think that's actually.
If they gave all right, so no, I take that back now. If they gave them 90 and they did know, I'd talk about it.
But there have been other times, however.
But I mean, the 3 people that use Edge are going to be screwed right now because with that security hole.
Does anyone actually in the room? Does anyone use Edge?
They all live.
Download Chrome, exactly.
No, actually, honestly, the only reason
they all
why
live in Vermont, I heard.
Yeah, right.
Oregon.
No, so actually, the only reason why Edge matters to me at all, and I went through this with my laptop, is one of the recent Windows updates destroyed Edge. Like completely took it away, which I wouldn't care about, except when it destroys Edge, it takes away your notifications bar. It kills your start menu. It takes away all of you can't get into control panel or anything else. So I literally had to reinstall Windows on my laptop.
Are we the only ones that have ever called it Edge publicly?
Probably. Everybody's still calling it IE.
Yeah. Nobody calls it Edge.
No,
it's
Edge
stupid.
on my Windows machine.
It's either a guitar player for you two or a wrestler. It's not a damn browser.
Right.
All right.
So I do think you got to know if I desperately want to know if this was a troll or not. Hey, did you hear that Black Panther came out over the weekend, Bob?
How did I? No, I never heard. What?
The reviews are great, right? Everybody loves.
It seems like it knocked it out of the park. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I've heard really, really good things about it. But apparently there was theater that instead of showing Black Panther, started showing 50 Shades Freed.
There's another one.
There's another. Yeah, another
trilogy. Whatever. Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings, but better.
It's I mean,
more belts.
I have a terrible story. So Jessica and I were laying around last week and we watched Secretary, which is actually a good movie about BDSM relationships, not this trash. But we then watched 50 Shades afterward, just to see if we could guess the lines, guess the plot, and it is a terrible piece of shit, in my opinion.
No, get out of town.
Terrible piece.
Go figure. It's a movie based on a fanfic. Based on another,
And every time there's a weird sex scene, they put weird music behind it, and it's just, it's so bad. Anyway.
Like every soccer mom on the planet owns that book.
That's right. Of course. That's right. Every day. Against spanking, took all her friends to see 50 Shades.
Right.
Wendy, he'll tie me up.
No, but I heard Black Panther did well, set a bunch of records, like I think 200 million it broke for the weekend for a Marvel flick. I think that was their best one.
Yep. Apparently killed it. I'm going to go see it this week.
Yeah, no, I heard great things about it. That's why I just wanted to do the Forrest Gump, go to like a viewing party. Just go, sorry, I ruined your Black Panther party.
And Bob gets his ass kicked.
But hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the legend Foster Braun from WJR. This is the IT in the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Snyder from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Lives of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 2, episode 235, the IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here, Studio One, Podcast Detroit, in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy, hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, itinthed.com, because we are IT in the D. And
you still aren't.
We love you. Muy.
We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary. No, actually, the 5-year anniversary of No, You're Not. No, you're not.
And no,
you're not.
So, hey, we are extremely lucky this evening to be joined by an absolute local radio legend, the man with the golden voice, the voice of the Internet Advisor Show on WJR, Foster Braun. How are you, sir?
I am delighted to be here. It's fun just to sit and kind of bask in the craziness.
Dude, he starts talking, I feel like we have to straighten up.
See, no, because remember when we started the podcast and I wanted to do radio voice and I pushed my voice and it sounded stupid.
It was horrible.
It's Foster's voice. Like, it's not like that's him. Like, he'll say, "Hey Bob, can you give me a bottle of water?" I'm like, "Oh my God, that sounds beautiful." Like,
well, that's just funny because that's how my career started 44 years ago. Somebody said, "Hey, you really got a voice for radio." And at that point I was doing something completely different.
And they didn't mean you were ugly. They meant you had a nice voice. Like,
you were a face for radio.
Right.
Yeah. But the voice for radio was okay. And I went to the Specs Howard School of Broadcasting.
That was around 44 years ago?
Yeah, it was 1974.
Okay.
And I went there, and I was in one of the early classes there. And while I was there, I discovered I really liked doing talk radio. And did fairly well at it. I was, comfortable with it, and people were comfortable with me when I interviewed them. And that was kind of what started me going. I worked as a program director for a little bitty ethnic radio station in Garden City for 6 years, but that was just kind of launched me. And then after that, after a series of firings.
You were at a polka station?
Yes, of course. The polka, the Chaldeans, the Israelis, the Ukrainians, all of them. 44 different language groups.
Wow. It's 40. Wow.
Yeah. Detroit has such a rich history as an ethnic area that.
Sure.
Oh man, it was incredible. It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating for me.
So we're celebrating your 20th anniversary of the Internet Advisor Show on WJR.
That's incredible,
isn't it?
It is incredible. I think it's been 20 years. We got on shortly after the internet started.
I was going to say that's right about when I got my first AOL CD. And
yep.
So people were trying to troubleshoot Netscape Navigator 1.1, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was really wild. It's actually started off with me having problems getting in, my modem to work, and so I called my ISP. That happened to be Gary Baker, who owned BizServe.
Sure.
At the time, one of the first ISPs in Detroit. I think.
Yeah, I think.
No,
so.
it was. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
There was only a handful back then.
And they started
yeah.
out of Merritt in Ann Arbor. And Gary, what I was doing, hey, there we go. I was doing the weekend program on JR. So, the process I was in was something that had been going on for JR for a long time, of the weekend programs and things like that. But what was new then was introducing this element of the internet. And people took to it like ducks to water. It started off with my questions to Gary about my service. And then I said, hey, why don't we open the phone lines in the last half hour of the program on Saturday mornings? And if anybody out there has a question for us, boom, we started getting the questions. And that really has been the balance of what we do and what I love doing, really, to be honest with you, with the program.
That's our favorite segment every time we're on.
Huh?
That's our favorite segment every time we're on.
It is. The people that you get are just fascinating. And I love that the ability to interact with the audience. That's been my...
Yeah.
So what's probably the most memorable call you've had in the 20 years you've been doing this show?
Maybe Lord, there's been so many of them. I don't know if
the weirdest tech problem or like just the weirdest person calling. I mean, anytime you interact with the public, you've got that element of maybe something's going to go really
you were
weird
teasing
here.
beforehand about the time that you were on the air with us,
Right.
I think, was like, somebody's calling up with, a problem with their computer. Okay, well, what operating system are you running? Windows 95? Oh, hold it.
What year is it again?
That was, in 2016.
Year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'll never forget, because the guy was talking about his brother printer, and I kept going. I'm sitting there going, Bob, please don't say please keep your mouth shut, Bob. Please keep your mouth shut. And finally, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just a good time to throw it away. Like,
oh, yeah.
Best Buy, $50.
To be honest with you, that would be the answer to probably about 30% of the calls we get.
Right.
There a lot of JR's been around for a long time. It's a heritage radio station, so they have a lot of older folks who just have the radio turned on all day long. Maybe your grandparents, your parents, great grandparents listening to the programs that were on JR. And so these are people who are, many of them just kind of backing in. One of the, you asked an interesting question. On the 3rd of February, it was the actual 20th anniversary. Right at the end of the program, you got this long testimonial from the son of one of our listeners who said, I just want to thank you so much because you took my mother out. She was a nurse, apparently, who was about to be, as the British say, made redundant because she couldn't keep up with the tech. And he said, you explained the technology in a way that she could get hold of it. And so apparently she had her lady friends got together and listened to the program, and it made it accessible to them so that she said, practically speaking, she was able to get X number more years of working, and her Social Security is secure.
Very cool.
So I thought, wow, what a testimonial to have at the end of because that really, again, is that connection with the listener is really what it's all about.
You guys have patience of saints. I mean, and I'm sitting there the whole time going, throw it away, just throw it away, just throw it away. And you guys are explaining it, and you're Googling the questions, or just Google it. Why don't you just Google it? Like when my kids come to me with a problem now, just if you Googled it, then why are you asking me? Just Google it, because I'm going to Google it.
Well, that's what we were doing on this show. People were asking questions, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, we were all
here. Fingers are clacking all the time during the show as people, we've been really blessed with some great techs. Ed Riddell and Cal Carson, Shane Hamlin, a whole bunch of guys. Now Caston Thomas, who's been on here with you guys.
Sure, many times.
Where'd you find these guys? Like, you've got a posse now.
Yeah, what's interesting? Gary was working for EDS, and he ran into Ed as one of. He had a tech need, I guess. Called him up. Ed came in, and they made the connection. And then Cal was the Apple expert on that desk there. So they made the transition together. Before that, we had a guy named Tom Dyroff who was just really, really, really good with, he could take anything apart. And he was such a cheapskate. He could squeeze a nickel to make the Buffalo move. He was incredible. Matter of fact, one time on the show, he actually bought, that's in quotes, bought a laptop for nothing. They paid him when he did all of the, the coupons
right,
and the rebates and everything else. He got it for nothing. And as a matter of fact, they owed him some money at the end of it. But that's the kind of guy he was. So those are the kind of people that we got to help do. And then people like, I think we ran into Caston. Where did we run into him? I forget how, but it was just, he was a guest, I think. Oh, no, he knew Gary, of course. And Gary has been, like kind of a magnet for all of these people that have been there and really has held it together.
Well, I know Tom Lawrence has been on a couple times.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, he is, yeah.
From
Really
Lawrence
good.
Systems?
Yeah, Tom Lawrence Systems.
Yeah.
Good example. Yeah, exactly. A good example of somebody who's really knowledgeable. And I like the way he handled the listeners, too. He was good at that.
Yeah, I thought we were going to keep make Foster feel at home. Cue the jazz music like
every 4 minutes,
7 minutes. Yeah,
he did message me.
I sent him a message and said, "Start the jazz music."
So if you never listen to the Internet Advisor Show on JR, literally we get about after you're done doing your hey, welcome and all that, we get maybe 4.5, 5 minutes.
Geez.
And then cue jazz, and then they play commercials, and then come back on air. And it's that way for about a solid hour. We get maybe 4 segments in.
I really envy you guys. Matter of fact, the whole we had you on. To me, as a professional broadcaster for all these years, you represent the next. We went from broadcasting, which was JR's power.
Yeah.
50,000 watts, one of the 12 stations.
50,000 watts of
funky hip hop power. Yes. Yes.
One of the 12 stations in the country who are a clear channel, 50,000 watts, part of that initial emergency broadcast system. That was the initial emergency broadcast. Everybody else in a crisis, when the aliens hit, everybody else goes off the air, and those 12 stations are supposed to cover everything then, and give people directions on where to go, et cetera. So, that's been the nature of broadcasting. Splatter everybody and pick up a few in the meantime.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys start out with a very focused base and grow from there. And I think that's been certainly the power of podcasting.
See, now, does that bother you being a true tried professional?
Watching jackasses like us.
Watching jackasses like us. Being able to do this.
We're not the worst.
Yeah, by no means over.
No, in some ways to complain about that or fight against it. I mean, it'd be like, somebody in the horse and buggy era complaining that they couldn't make wagons anymore.
Right.
The way they used to. It's just... Now this group of people who listen faithfully will be there for a short period of time longer, as a pool. Oh, I have to say, and I'm very thankful for this, that we're also affiliated through the Michigan Talk Radio Network, which Steve Gruber just recently bought that.
Sure.
Steve and Ivy out of Lansing, and they're reviving that. And I guess it's funny. I was on this was a number of years ago. I was on an audition someplace for a commercial of some kind. And it turned out that a number of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us, were old broadcasters who were there. Literally old and literally broadcasters. But the mellow voices that have been around town for a long time. Yeah. And we all started talking about where we would, if we could go back to radio, where would we want to go? And all of them talked about going back to either mid-size or smaller radio stations where you create a community and nurture that community. And so you go to Gladwin or wherever, the people who listen in there are catching, what's going on. And
that's almost your podcast demographic. I mean, that's the people that are opting in that want to pay attention and be a part of things.
Exactly. So that smaller market, that mid-sized market, I think will still always exist as a place for people. But I think that the larger stations, it was funny, though. We went on the air with the Internet Advisor 20 years ago, and about exactly the same time we went on there, it was like the death knell. God help me, somebody in JR is going to kill me for this, but it was almost like at that moment things flipped. They were flipping. And for instance, the station I started on in Garden City was 5,000 watts, I think. All of a sudden, at that point in 98, 99, that station could be heard on the same level as JR at 50,000 watts if it had the proper outlet. It didn't need 50,000 watts to gather an audience. It could be reaching people with the same power that JR could.
See, JR is always amazing to me. Like when you go to Cleveland, and if you're driving home at night, where you can pick up the station because there's no interference over the water, you can literally listen to JR like the whole ride home, 3.5 hour drive from Cleveland.
I used to do something that was called the Snow Patrol, and I did it. I got to JR in '96, and I started doing overnights, filling in for Kevin Joyce at the time. And the Snow Patrol was something that I kind of created. It was when it was really miserable outside and it was going to be a bad night for everybody. I go down to the station, we get on the air, and we start talking to people. Where are you? What's going on? What's happening? And I had one night I talked to a family that was marooned on an expressway in southern Indiana. And the National Guard was coming to pull them out because they were. So you had that ability to reach out and touch people like that. That's gone. And in its place, we have, pre-programmed stuff that comes down from the network. So in some ways, I think a lot of stations have kind of given up on that.
Well, yes. I mean, is radio facing some of the same challenges that the news industry is? That, where you've got there's a lot of stories have been coming out lately about like the Freep and Detroit News, and being bought by Gannett, and now it's it's not a quote unquote local paper anymore because it's stories are getting pushed down from outside. So I mean, is that just the way the media is going now?
Oh, I think it certainly is. People are. Well, I don't think the corporations can afford the massive structures that they built. They just can't afford it. They simply can't afford it. And the shame in that, in many ways, is that the good journalism, the people who were really intelligent, were doing some of the sifting of the news that we counted on beforehand. They've kind of gone. There's just no room for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's God, what was it? 4 years ago or something like that, when I wrote Not Necessarily the News, on our website, where, CNN got a Supreme Court verdict wrong. And everyone started reposting it and following suit with it. And and you didn't have that back in the day when it was, I mean, and people forget, hey kids, not too long ago, we didn't have a 24/7 news cycle. Right, if you wanted the news, you woke your ass up at 6 a.m.
Anchorman 2
or you
does just dictates or shows that off just brilliantly how that came to be.
Or you sat down 5 to 7 and you watched
puppy dogs and American flags, and the people want to, don't give them what they want to, or give them what they want to, or not what they need to hear.
Yeah, a friend of mine is an AP. He was an AP bureau chief in Eastern Europe, and then all over the place. A real professional writer and news person. And I remember talking to him about that the 24-hour cycle just wiped everything out. You had no longer a deadline you were working towards. It was there all the time.
Everything is real time.
Get there first.
Yeah, exactly. And then it became get there first. And then it became who had a camera, a phone camera on it. And so,
now it's who can do Facebook Live first.
There you go.
Right.
I think a lot of the news articles are even being written by AI now. I think I read. So,
really?
So I mean, just imagine. I think Fox Sports laid off most of their Detroit news people. Right?
Yeah, they said, well, God, there was a story about a year ago. I think we talked about where sports recaps in particular were being written by AI.
So that takes away the whole reason for local journalism, right?
Well, we have a news bureau at JR, and I sometimes wonder how long that can go on. Wonderful guys, Dick Hafner and Gene Fogel, and a lot of the other people who have been there for ages. Some of the older folks would remember those names, but they've been there for ages doing a great job, but you wonder how long they can. It was fascinating. In our studios at JR, there is a traffic lady who does the traffic
I saw her. She's on the way to the bathrooms, and I had to be really quiet when I walked to the bathroom because she was doing the live traffic. Right?
But she was doing live traffic for Chicago.
That's it, the Dan Ryan, and then switching to New York.
I heard her, and I go, Dan Ryan, where the hell? What? She's doing just reading for multiple cities.
She was doing, they do New York, and I know of the New York, Chicago, and Detroit.
And I listen to 97.1 all the time, and you have like Tony Ortiz, who does not just for 97.1, but he'll jump over to do another station, jump over to, because they're all a bunch of sister stations, and he'll do like the same update six times. Just crazy business now.
So, and it's all driven by cost. The company that owned JR went bankrupt. or they're in it's restructuring right now. But anyway, the point is, it's and the company before that I think had been on the rocks and was being gobbled up as well. And nobody can afford the debt that's coming forward with these radio networks. And then I would guess with the TV networks as well.
Yeah. Well, and it is. I mean, and then, just kind of come full circle with this. I mean, that's, one of the things that we've seen more and more over the past couple of years is, you've got all of the, radio stations that are pushing people towards Play.it, iHeartRadio, all that, all those things, Check Getch, the podcast version.
Not just that, Dave, like Channel 4.
Now you got WWJ and WDIV that are trying to launch podcast networks.
Right. There's like a podcast music.
Really?
Yeah, downtown.
I trolled my eyes for when at home.
I heard a radio ad for it, and they go, and come on in and record your family stories and your what? I'm like sitting there going, what?
No kidding.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, like record your band.
Oh, well,
like,
see, neither did we, and apparently it's been going on for like 6 months. So that tells you how that's going.
Because I hear a radio ad on like whatever music I was listening to.
Well, it is typical, of the they've got to do that to keep up. They have got to do that. They got to plug into an iHeartRadio or whatever else that happens to be out there. JR, I think they had their app online. Was it 2 or 3 years ago that they had their app online? So many of they've had to do it in order to be able to keep the people who are online, give them an opportunity to hook them in.
Well, I mean, it's the factor of, we've said a million times, we kind of lucked into doing this, at the right time.
Oh, you guys hit it right.
Like we live in an on-demand world now. It's like, the days of must-see TV died with Friends.
Oh, absolutely.
I want.
We call it appointment radio.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
want
gone
what
out.
I want, when I want, how I want. So, like I like your morning show, 97.1 or whatever, but I work second shift. Don't tell me I got to wake up at 6 a.m. to listen to your morning show. But you record it, put the podcast version out. Yeah, I'll listen to it at noon when I'm driving in.
I think the drive shows still hold some audience, still hold a pretty good audience, like Paul W. in the morning. But
yeah, morning commute, afternoon commute, yeah.
The problem is I've done those shows, and you said it. I sat in for Paul W. This would be back in the late 90s, and I had maybe 7 minutes to do an interview. I mean, that meant like a question and maybe a rejoinder, and then we're back to it's time for traffic, it's time for weather, and then PSAs and spots and everything else. And you had 5, 7, 10 minutes of commercials on top of it.
You should be driving a
political season or Christmas.
You should be driving a Kia from Summerplace Kia.
Your favorite place ever.
Foster, I went to Grand Rapids for a soccer tournament with my kids, and so I wake up in the morning, go get me a coffee and a bagel, and I hear you should be driving a Kia, and I thought I was hearing things. And it was like new Summerplace Kia, Grand Rapids, and I'm like, oh my god, they bought a dealership in Grand Rapids. I can't get away from it.
They're stalking you, Bob.
I know, right? They moved to my hometown.
Everywhere, find Kias or something.
Right. So 20 years talking tech. What are some of your favorite like innovations or favorite things that have come out or things you've talked about? Can you pinpoint like one or two? Or am I just me and Dave and I
there's
actually
been so much change, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So much change. It's hard to point to any one thing. I think the iPhone, the breakthrough that meant in terms of technology was probably one of the biggest ones. The guys gave me this Apple Watch during the program on the 20th anniversary. It was really kind of cool. They said, wait a minute, we got one more thing we're going to do. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And so now I'm fully vested.
I think you're right, because I have an aunt who is 80 years old, and I got her an iPad several years ago, and she loves it. And she had several updates, and she wanted the iPhone X. So my aunt, an 80-year-old aunt, has an iPhone X. My grandfather kept bringing home crappy PCs from pawn stores. I'm like, Granddad, you're never going to get this Windows 10 machine working right. And I sent him an iPad for Christmas this year. And I came back and he showed me everything he's doing with it.
Yeah.
I think you're right. From a usability and pushing tech forward, I think you're right. The iPhone's probably
and I think Steve Jobs in that sense really he just opened the floodgates at that point for usability.
Oh, ease of use. Absolutely.
It just works. At least it did then. Not so much now anymore.
Well, they weren't a great technology company. They were a great
marketing company.
UX and marketing.
Yes.
The user experience was second to none, and they made it sexy where you could like show it off and go like, wow, that's,
No, I wonder, the Mobile World Congress is coming up in Barcelona next weekend, I think it is. And big talk about 5G being the star of the show. I wonder if that will be the next leap. I don't understand the technology well enough to be able to comment on it, but I'm fascinated by what I've heard, that it will disconnect you from the need for a lot of the networks.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, and honestly, I mean, 4G was one of the things, and when you want to talk about technology and podcasting, I mean, 4G was really what helped podcasting leap forward. Because, I mean, podcasts have been around since 1997.
Yes.
You know, and then RSS feeds hit, and then you had, you know, but now once you had an iPhone that was a consumable device that could go ahead and grab them and pull them down, and you had a 4G network.
The problem is you had to download them in the past, and you didn't have that capacity on your phone.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Did you guys notice that there was, like with podcasts, there seemed to be kind of 2003, 4, 5, there was a burst of them, and then they just kind of faded away.
Mm-hmm.
And was it? You think it was the iPhone then that really
absolutely
brought it back around?
Yeah, because you could listen to it now on a phone, and now not only that, you have Bluetooth enabled cars.
Yep.
So now I can podcast Bluetooth car. I don't have to download anything. It doesn't screw up the hard drive.
Or now I've
on my
got
phone.
Google Play or Apple in my car, built into my dashboard, and I don't even need my phone.
Even more of that. Yep.
I would never buy a car without Android or Google Play in the car. No, never.
We got a car, the 2012 Ford Focus, and I love the vehicle, but it doesn't have Bluetooth, and it's terribly batty. So I had to buy a Bluetooth speaker, and then portable one that connects my phone.
It's the old, the Walkman that had the adapter that you plug into the cassette player.
Right.
That's what the wants to use in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of having headphones and a boombox on your front seat.
Oh, yeah. So, things have and these 20 years represent, I think, in some ways, a real sea change that has taken place in terms of communication, period. That we are now communicating much more directly with one another.
Well, you
Good
look
touch,
at
bad touch.
The thing that always gets me.
Oh, yeah.
No, the thing that always gets me is as children, as I grew up, and I was born in '73. As I grew up, in the late '70s, early '80s, hey, Bobby, go turn the antenna. So I had to go underneath the TV, and I had to turn the antenna left and right until we got or mess with the rabbit ears or the vertical hold on the TV. Now
we were the remote control,
right? And now, if Netflix glitches, my kids are like, "Hey, Dad, it's glitching." Like,
go mess with the router.
God. Which is today, right. Reboot the router, Dad. It's glitching. Like, oh my God! But they as soon as I never complained, I was just happy to get whatever.
Yeah.
And now it just seems like there's so
I
much.
can actually remember going to my grandmother's house just in terms of that. This is 1951, and watching this tiny little screen that was flickering away, and looking at Ed Sullivan or whoever happened to be just getting onto the airwaves at that time. So I've been around for enormous changes. I was just in the Sam's Club looking at these incredible screens, 55-inch,
for $300.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Oh my God,
It's just astounding what's out there.
Like, do you remember? I remember when my father paid for a top-loading VHS player, like $700-800.
Oh yeah, one of the very first that had the remote with a cord.
Do you remember your first computers? Like mine had like a 5400 baud modem or something. I think my old man paid like $2,200 for this IBM clone.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get a Chromebook for $200 and everything's in the cloud. And but now your life is monthly fees.
Yeah,
it's
very
one
much
giant.
Yeah, streaming becomes really the bottom line. I think it'd be interesting to see because there's a lot about cord cutters going on. It'll be interesting to see who ends up controlling the bandwidth. I think that will be the basic issue coming.
Well, and that's where the whole net neutrality thing comes into play, and that's where it's going to get real interesting because the more people that are cutting the cord, they may be turning their cable boxes back in, but they still need their internet connection.
That's exactly.
And by the time you add up all the apps that you have to buy, you're paying just as much.
And wasn't there an article we read not too long ago?
$8 or
it's
something.
Like $8 that you cost Comcast when you quote unquote cut the cord.
Yeah. Because you're still buying, you got to get Hulu, and then you got to get Netflix, and you're going to get Sling.
If you want live, you're paying for YouTube, which is $35 a month.
Yep.
For YouTube's live streaming. Yeah,
it's $35 a month.
It's $35. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Just announced.
I don't know if we'll ever get to the place of what do you guys think? Are we ever going to get to the place of enough of a competitive field that the prices will be forced down?
I hope so. I mean, honestly, my biggest thing is that the change that I've wanted for a long, long time is get rid of the damn bundling. Like knowing that $12 of my cable bill every month was ESPN and I can't. I turn on ESPN once a year.
No, Dave,
maybe.
it's the I have to buy phone service to get my bill down that I don't even plug in. They go, we're just going to ship you the box. Don't even bother plugging it in.
Yeah.
And then I get a cheaper price. It's like, well, what are you doing to us?
Yep.
And I think these cable companies have huge monopolies too.
Oh.
Right? So they own the access, they own all the equipment. So
Exactly.
until we have real competition in the cable market, I think we'll never have better prices.
If satellite ever gets to the point that they can compete with fiber to the home cable on the ground.
Musk's announcement, they're launching satellites and trying to
that's going up on the next SpaceX rocket. Are going to be a bundle of these much smaller satellites that they're going to spray around the atmosphere.
I think they said with like maybe 100 satellites, they can
Yep.
cover the entire world
Mhm.
with 1 gig broadband.
Yes.
See, and that's where it's going to change very quickly.
That
very
yes,
quickly.
I think so.
So, I mean, HughesNet was the one that was the only one that was actually a viable
much better
option.
than flamethrowers, Elon.
Much better than a Model S in space. Like,
Right.
You know, the problem has been with the dish satellite is that while it could you could stream things down pretty effectively. Upload
Was always
uplink
deaf.
was a DSL.
Yeah.
And my daughter lived north of Oxford for a while, and it was absolutely made me crazy. I went out there to babysit once, and while I could bring stuff down quickly, getting any kind of a connection out through that DSL line was almost impossible.
Or it's raining, the Netflix has gone out.
Yeah.
What's really interesting,
Yep.
41% of America, which equates to 5 million households with like school-age children, no service whatsoever in the
Wow.
United States today.
Really?
Today.
Nuri, how much Netflix are you watching over a satellite connection? Not much,
Not
because
much, no.
you have still bandwidth caps of like 40 gigs a month.
Really, on satellite?
Yeah, my parents have satellite now.
Weak.
That's
I think
all I
my
can
house
get.
does 600 gigs a month.
Yeah.
Our 1 gig service.
Hey, Dave, it's time to cue the jazz music. Foster, we're going to cut you loose. Hey, on behalf of all of us, so seriously, 20 years, that is a huge accomplishment
Thank
for one
you.
show. We hope to hit 5, which is this year, but
You guys are you're on your way. You're doing a great job.
we love having you on here, and
Thank you.
And we commend you on everything you guys have been doing, and look forward to the next 20.
Thank you so much. It's been just a delight being with you guys and just kind of sitting back and watching you guys surfing into the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, Foster Braun, WJR Internet Advisor Show. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. Dan and Clayton, Nuspire. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 3, episode 235. This is the one and only IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, ITinthed.com, where you can subscribe to our Meet page to find out where we're going to be. That's MEET. Still, it's all right though. We have the MEATs going to the brewery. So yeah. So we'll have the meat sticks, but we're going to selling them with Falling Down.
So it'll be fallingdown.com/meat.
Exactly. Beer, Falling Down beer. But hey, do us a favor, give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
When you're building an application, you need it to be fast, secure, and always evolving. With Kubernetes Engine on the Google Cloud Platform, developers can deploy fully managed containerized apps quickly and easily. Google has been running production workloads in containers for over 15 years. We build the best of what we can learn into Kubernetes, the industry-leading open-source container orchestrator. Kubernetes Engine combines automatic scaling, updates, and reliable, self-healing infrastructure with open-source flexibility to cut down development cycles and speed up time to market. Click to learn more about Kubernetes Engine. Visit g.co/getgke. That's g.co/getgke.
It's like you do. It's like
for
you do
tech support, press 1.
Yeah, no, it's like you do reads for Google or something, Nuri. It's crazy.
Press 1. That's me.
Para español, primo.
Primo número dos. But hey, we're old friends. Like I think I met you, Dan, probably 10 years ago, back in my HP days. But we got Dan and Clayton here from Nuspire Networks. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy President's Day.
I know, right? Good luck following Foster there with that golden voice. Like
Exactly. Did you guys buy any mattresses today? Go to all the sales?
No, nothing.
Yeah.
President's
no
Day means-
furniture,
yeah.
no.
I didn't know you got
towels.
days off. Who got days off today?
Postmen, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Banks.
Kids went to school. I had to work. Whatever.
Oh, my kids have today and tomorrow off for some reason.
Oh, weird.
Some midwinter break.
So, for those that don't know Nuspire, give us a little the 10-second elevator pitch.
We are one of the leading managed security service providers around the globe. We've been doing this since the late 90s. We're located, we got 2 offices here in Oakland County, 1 in Cincinnati. It's been a wild ride over the last, I think, 14 years I've been here and 20 that the company's been going on.
So, I mean, managed security, how the heck do you stay on top of everything?
I have people like Clayton with me.
You're supposed to answer that, Clayton. Yeah. Oh, you know? Yeah.
I just run.
Well, and a lot of it, too, is we dedicate a ton of folks to research and development. So you really, to stay on top of it, you've got to have a lot of people. It's not just a one-man show. You've got to have a ton of people, and that's their job, is just, staying on top of it, researching new things, putting in huge development platforms and long sales cycles to make sure that you're actually on top of the game.
I mean, so one of our common things we talk about all the time is I think we've gotten so desensitized to security breaches that I don't think anyone cares anymore. Like the whole Target, Wendy's, we read a breach a week. Like we just did one for, I don't even know who, the 119,000 credit cards, FedEx. I'm going to use FedEx tomorrow when I buy something from Amazon. I could care less. I mean, when did we stop caring? Did we just, unless it affects you?
End, I guess.
Yeah.
Or stop paying attention. I mean, I remember like Target when the talk was about, are you still going to shop at Target? And now it's like, are we even going to talk about the last one that happened? It's so commonplace that I think we've stopped caring.
Tylenol poisoned people and their stock went up.
Sales went up too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked with some really large organizations that are just saying because of that, they're willing to take that risk.
Are you kidding?
Yep. I mean,
no press is bad press. Just your name is out there.
Well, it's expensive, right? There's so much tied to, like, I think you can quantify how much a breach costs.
Yep.
And then you may have to pay for credit monitoring. I think there are bills to actually charge per customer's information you disclose. But people are still willing to take the risk?
Yeah, because they can quantify the risk now. It used to be like brand identity and your stock is going to plummet. We're all going to lose our jobs. And now there's a dollar figure with it. And there's, boards that are saying,
it's cheaper than buying stuff from Bob.
Yeah.
But isn't that, what was it? Was it a library or school district that just said, I'm not going to?
It was a library, yeah.
Said, I'm not putting anything in.
Got hit with ransomware and they figured out that it was cheaper to just replace all the computers than it was to pay the ransom.
But then there was another one that just left everything open.
Yeah.
Just like whatever.
Yep.
If I'm going to get breached anyway, I'm not even going to buy anything.
Yeah.
Just put a Netgear.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
It's admin 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Turn NAC on.
Have at it.
Turn NAC on and then I'm done. Yeah, exactly.
One of the things we've been seeing with ransomware is their customer support is fantastic.
Right.
They don't want it to get out that, that you're going to get screwed at the end of the day. So they need to make sure that you get your data back. So we've got customers or, new customers after this that will say, they followed up just to make sure I was pleased with my transaction.
Please rate us on Yelp.
Right.
5 stars would unlock again.
We're going to send you a customer survey from.
So, I mean, not only, you guys do like managing firewall security, but you guys are also implementing wireless and kind of managing that.
Yeah, we do a lot. We're SLA driven, right? And so it doesn't take long before companies are saying, that's great, secure my network, but I also need you to set up a network. And we're not just talking about, firewalls and software and hardware anymore. I need wireless and I need it secure wireless. And I was thinking the other day, like, why are we still talking about wireless? I've been doing this for, more than a decade, a dozen years now, and I just assumed eventually that would kind of go away. Like
nobody wants to talk about it; they just want it to be on.
Exactly.
Like they don't even want to know it exists. They just my stuff, click, go, yes, now.
Never changes the key. Never have to touch it.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, is it still?
I can connect anything to anywhere.
But are still people I remember people caring about rogue. See, the thing was back in the day, like you had rogue APs, guys bringing in their Netgears, putting them under the desk, and that was a big problem for security. Then you had the whole BYOD thing. People bringing their own device, and now you have you need everything on everything.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how being like a 100,000 person organization that has to get secure data on every device that people bring in and the ones you supply.
And we deal a lot with
as Clayton rolls his eyes.
Yes. I just wouldn't do it.
Right.
We deal a lot with a lot of companies that have a lot of locations, and rogue wireless devices are still an issue because you don't necessarily know those IT folks if you're a branch office in Toulouse, right? And you just need to get wireless. Sometimes it's easier just to go to Best Buy and figure it out. I don't understand how it's still an issue, but we're still dealing with it. Clayton and I had one a while ago that they were in a big office complex, and it took a while, and there was problems with their neighbors. Do you remember this one, Clayton? Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm on the sales side. I'm like, Clayton, what technology do they need? And he's like, they don't need any technology. They need an arbitrator. It was their neighbors were causing problems, and it's still difficult. I don't get it.
Well, they just simplified their network as much as they possibly could so they wouldn't be as subject to the combat, because some of their neighbors actually were trying to jam them.
Purposely?
Yes.
Yeah.
Raspberry. Yeah, exactly. Is it raspberry? Yeah, exactly.
What did I see this week? Was there a guy who was fined by the FCC for trying to jam cell phones from his car during his morning drive?
Yep.
He's just pissed off at people on the phone all the time.
Yeah, had an RFID jammer, yeah.
That's hysterical.
Or an RF
He
jammer,
cares
yeah.
that much what other people are doing in their cars to do that?
Yeah, then they start hitting their phone trying to get it to work. And
right.
Yeah.
God, that's asshole. That is really,
Says the guy with the app on his phone that turns off his kid's device's network access at a drop of a hat.
Damn right. They're kids, man. Driving to work in the morning.
Well, I think we've all been there, right? Where you're driving behind someone, you're like, what is wrong with this person? You speed by and you always got to take a look at him, and you're expecting to see some old blind dog or something, and it's just
it's someone
on the
texting.
phone.
Yeah.
And then you get in front of him and you slam on the brakes real quick and hopefully hit you, and then you do an insurance fraud settlement.
Exactly.
Oh,
my neck.
Right. So, you guys are hiring tons of people all the time, and it's one thing, we're doing a program right now to get people into entry-level IT.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what we found out is that there's 3 rules to be awesome at entry-level IT is to show up on time and not smoke pot and to show up on time.
What's wrong with smoking pot?
It's not my rule, dude.
Sometimes it makes you late.
Pass a drug
When
test.
it makes you late, exactly.
It is not my law. I just, but that's the thing. How are you guys? Are you guys having a hard time?
It's
finding
hard.
and attracting talent.
It's hard to find good people, and we're talking everything from entry level all the way to senior engineers, and we've always had that kind of fun culture, and we're always doing a lot of real fun things to attract people from free haircut and lunches, and they take everyone to Mackinac Island and
free haircut.
Yeah, free haircut day. It's something else.
What the heck? Is that where it's gone to?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, we're not even.
They'll make money on Clayton. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I should demand some other perk.
Right.
We've seen,
with the neck shave, just everything,
Scalp massage.
The problem is it's hairdressers, not barbers, so I can't just get it shaved.
Oh, right.
We've seen, though, we're not the only ones. I mean, there's companies that have nap pods and stuff like that. I'm sure 22-year-old me probably wouldn't have dealt well with a nap pod, but
22-year-old me too. I would never use it. I mean, now, the nap pod, they call it
now.
No, they call it working from home.
It's my couch.
Right, exactly.
I get it. I worked at Google, and the amount of perks I got from working there was insane. 3 meals a day, do my dry cleaning, doctor on site, everything I could ever want during my workday. I could get a Google assigned girlfriend, even not quite. But it's why is the industry moving that way? And do people really? Does that equate to more job satisfaction?
I don't know. On the other side too, a lot of times you'll see other companies in their offices just a big wooden table. And so is that what people want?
Well, but here's the thing: is it job satisfaction, or is that the company just figuring out how to keep you at the office longer?
Yeah. Because
productivity though.
Because my thing is 4-hour Wednesdays, get your stuff done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Morning or afternoon, you take, and just, to me, that's okay. I could get my stuff done. I don't need to get my oil change in the parking lot of where I work.
Right.
I don't need a haircut. I prefer to go to my salon and watch soap operas with them. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? They want you at the office as long as humanly possible.
Well, and having fun too. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I think we do is to keep people at the office, but also to keep that culture and that morale up. I mean, there's some stuff that probably isn't the most productive. What is it? Clayton got to put on a Good Times event for winning an award. And what did you bring in? Video games?
I just brought in classic video games.
Classic, old Super Nintendo games. And I think productivity probably dipped for a little while, but people like being at the office then.
That's rare, though. Nobody likes being at the office. They say they are. But if you let me play video games versus working, I love being at the office. Let me go home.
Get a haircut while you're at it.
Speaking of throwing Clayton under the bus, Dan just destroyed you, Clayton. Basically, he said, ask Clayton why he fell asleep during The Last Jedi.
Well,
was it the porg? Because it was the poor were okay with you.
So cute, though.
It was because of Laura Dern.
That's why.
I actually did go to the bar before the movie with a bunch of friends. So
Sure, so did we.
May have had a little bit to do with
So did we.
Yeah.
And you fell asleep?
Yeah.
Did he fall asleep or did he pass out?
Right.
I was
resting my eyes.
Yeah. I didn't have a moment where I'm like, okay, I don't have any idea what's going on. I was kind of in and out.
So spoiler alert, City, when you left, going, don't tell me I slept during that part. I gotta go.
Kind of like Randy's first viewing of Black Panther.
Yeah. I left the studio drunk, and I don't even remember getting dropped off at the theater.
Oh, my. You were part of that problem last week?
No. I'm never a problem.
No, that was last Thursday. Yeah.
I actually saw Black Panther Saturday morning. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no one said it. I don't think you can say it's bad. Is that where we're at as a society?
No, it's good. I mean,
you're not allowed to.
In the pantheon of Marvel movies, it's definitely in the top, couple.
Well, they're getting weird. Like the Thor. I don't even the last Thor. Like I'm not.
It was the best Thor, though.
See, everyone that sees it tells me that. Mark told me that, and it's it looked ridiculous in the previews.
It had its bad moments, but what movie doesn't?
Right. So I mean, let's jump back to what you guys are doing day to day. So I mean, it always boggles my mind when people say they're managing security, because to me it's just this weird, like, it's not just 7-layer dip, it's like 3,700 layer dip.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you start and where do you stop? Is it just like are you following processes and trying to cover as many bases, or what? I guess what
it depends a lot, I guess, from customer to customer. And some of them it's 1 layer or 2 layers. Some of them need the whole dip. But that's part of it. Is at the end of the day, we kind of believe that it's going to be service levels, right? Like at the end of the day, you don't want a router, you want to route data. And so folks have figured out different parts of that dip, kind of using your analogy, but they need help with others. And so we've got
I need the guacamole, I need the tomato and the bean.
Yeah, and to make that dip, we need a lot of people, which goes back to trying to figure out where and how to find really good people.
Right. I mean, what do we talk about underemployment now for cybersecurity people? Like,
it's negative unemployment.
Negative unemployment. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's 3.5 million unfilled jobs in the United States by 2020.
That's 2 years away.
Yeah, it is.
That's nuts. And that's funny because not to sidetrack.
Where do you see yourself 2 years from now? Don't know. Don't have 2020 vision.
Right. Like they're so like I got my 13-year-old's going to be a freshman next year in high school, and she gave me her class list, and there's like 9th grade she can take computer programming, and then 10th grade already she can take networking, security, and then hacking principles.
Jesus, in high school,
in 9th and 10th grade.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Right. So
I'd like to see the materials, like how good they are.
To be honest, I can't
hacking
see
punch card.
Right.
Bob, she's going to turn off the device that you have that turns off her access.
Oh, I know. That's what I don't teach her too much.
Oh, I love it. But why is this such a thing? I mean, every time I'm in an Uber and people are like, so what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm in IT. They're like, I've heard about, or I'm thinking about getting into it. It's really the future. And I'm like, no. It's not the future. It's now.
We're looking at now.
Why is perception still like that? Why is it so hard to find people?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it might have been the schooling issue, right? Some of the folks that I talk to that are, maybe that senior level executive, they didn't go to school for IT and network security, and they fell into it from project management, or they're really good at managing budgets, and someone just said, now security's yours. I think that's going to change.
MIS degrees were kind of silly. Like, Clayton, you could probably attest to that. Like, I graduated high school in 91. Like, get an MIS degree and you look at the course and you're like, this is kind of goofy.
Hey, I know Pascal.
Right.
Clayton's a food science
I was
major.
just a bona fide geek. That's where most of the early IT people, like I came in at the very tail end of like doing NetWare 3 and stuff like that, and had managing DOS machines and stuff like that. So like,
I remember.
Hey, I could hack a Commodore PET with the best of them, man. I got cred.
But that's so I'm building on that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like for some people, like they're coming in, and there's just so much to know. Like now you really have to specialize that more.
Sure.
Back when I was first getting into it, you could almost be like
you could be a generalist, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how I started my career, was in a call center IT, and it was like I was the guy who blew dust out of computers, and then I taught myself the phone switch, and I taught myself email and Active Directory. But then those jack of all trades are really, well, it's actually coming back. I think DevOps folks are now pretty much the new jack of all trades, right? So I don't know.
And I think a lot of people really kind of fell into it, but hopefully pretty soon people, set out right from the get-go. It'd be great if your daughter's in 9th or 10th grade saying, I want to be an ethical hacker. We need more of that.
Right. she wants to be in theater, but I'm like, no, you can be theater on the weekend. You be an ethical hacker during the week. Like, I don't mind if you do like all that act. She tried to take acting. I'm like, no, you're taking programming, not acting. So you're already in theater, So yeah, it's one of those. I want to be a YouTuber. That's not a job. That's what you do when you get home from your job. Unless you make a lot of money, then you could quit your job, but that's not your job.
Right.
But hey, Nuspire, you guys have been around forever, and it seems like you're kind of one of our better kept secrets in town in terms of like longevity in IT companies. Usually they're either coming or going, or they're getting bought, or they go away. But you guys, through the thick and thin of this thing, you guys are still trucking. It's good to see.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
And keeping a good culture.
Dan keeps selling stuff.
Go crazy. I can't believe they haven't fired him yet. Like, seriously, like.
Yeah. It's a miracle. I don't get it.
Okay, but explain why, jackass, because that's a really crappy statement to lay on somebody.
What?
I can't believe they haven't fired him yet.
I'm being funny. It's a sales guy talking to a sales guy. That's what we talk about all the time. We have limited shelf lives. Yeah. And so like they still kept you? Like that's the first thing another sales guy says to another sales guy.
I've got a crazy half-life.
Or
he's plutonium.
Yeah, exactly. But how do we find you online? NewSpireNetworks.com?
NewSpire.com.
And that's NU-Spire.
NU-Spire, and then you can hit even /careers if you're interested.
Cool.
Appreciate it, guys.
Guys, appreciate coming on. Hopefully you've seen Last Jedi again to make up for your sleepiness.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, see, that's your task if you choose to accept it.
It's your homework.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with our friends from Merit Networks, Pierrette and Joe. This is the IT in the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, this is Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT&D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Segment 4, episode 235. This is IT in the D, broadcasting live here in Studio One, Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy. Dave, the geek. Nuri, the F&G. Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, ITinthed.com. And you guys have been, we talk about the patience of a saint like Foster, but you guys have been hanging out with us throughout this entire episode. We sincerely appreciate it. Got our friends from Merit in the house. Pierrette, welcome. And Dr. Joe, you said VP of Awesomeness, but you are the VP of Cybersecurity for Merit Networks.
That's right.
Yeah. Welcome. How you guys doing?
Good.
We're good.
So what brings you out? I know there's also lots of good stuff going on at Merit Networks, and we always like helping out the Michigan cybersecurity range. Apparently there's something going on now for Michigan high schools.
Right. So we're teeing up the third year, actually, of our high school cyber challenge. The governor sponsors this for, the last 3 years. And it's a great opportunity for kids to dip their toe into cybersecurity. It's completely no cost. We play it in 3 rounds. So the first round will kick off probably around March 1st. And it's going to be challenge-based, puzzle-based. No score. We'll run a challenge a month until October. In October, we'll start round 1. And round 1 is scored.
Round 1, fight.
Yeah.
The neat thing is Merit, because we are the oldest and largest research and education network in the country. They play from their own home high schools. So there's no cost, there's no travel. Kids get a different topic every day for 4 days. They have to solve problems. They have to answer questions. And then the top 10 teams, there are 3 kids per team, the top 10 teams get brought to Detroit for no cost. Basically, the state pays for it.
And the reason why this is so important, all of our friends at Nuspire were talking about why isn't there talent in Michigan? And we're all kind of facing that. We mentioned 3.5 million unfilled cyber jobs by 2020. And, one of the biggest things, if you go to any of the NIST or NICE cybersecurity K-12 conferences, one of the biggest reasons you'll find that you actually don't have a adequate cyber workforce in Michigan is just simply exposure, a lack of exposure. 80% of students who don't go into cybersecurity just say they didn't know it was an option. They didn't understand that it was a career field. So, what we're aiming to do is to build the cybersecurity talent pipeline to help with economic development, growth, prevent brain drain, starting with the high school students, to actually bring exposure to them through free cybersecurity competitions, which, any school district, we had 560 kids participate last year throughout the state of Michigan, in the UP and dense urban areas, basically statewide. side and kind of bring them up from, very early high school all the way from that to 2-year college, 4-year college, and then workforce retraining.
And that's the one thing I always gave Snyder credit for is, with security, especially with IT, was how do we reach the kids?
Right.
And he always did a great job of not only worrying about what's going on with the job market, but like trying to get that next generation of professionals moving up.
He did. He's actually, right now, I don't know if it's passed yet, but there was consideration. They were thinking about replacing or allowing an exchange instead of a foreign language, actually counting a programming language as your foreign language credit in high school.
Oh, so, because filling out my daughter's, I think it came in under the arts. But that also included
STEAM now.
Business administration. Yeah, there's a few other things that fell into that.
Yeah. The other thing is preventing the brain drain. People go to college in Michigan and then leave.
Yep.
And so what we're trying to do is make them aware that, there's IT and cybersecurity in everything, in cars, in home appliances, little companies, big companies. We want to keep them here in Michigan.
So what's really important about this competition to know is, number one, any students that are interested in participating, Merit Network will cover the cost of your participation throughout the entire school year. You can find out more by going to merit.edu/cybered. And we're obviously looking always for sponsors to help us cover the cost of that. So, if there's anything that companies out there would be interested in, we're actually hoping to be able to parlay these into certifications and things like that, because we want this competition to end and students actually entering the workforce. So we're looking for both interested high school students and companies to help support the competition.
I was going to say companies usually have lots of MDF for things like this. No, it's worthwhile. So, but I mean, that'd be first thing is talk to the vendors,
Oh, it is. Well, we have story after story after story. So the top, as Dr. Joe mentioned, the top 10 teams of 30 kids go to the governor's, International Cyber Summit in October, and they have a big capture the flag competition at the end to go head to head, and then the top 3 winning teams go on stage and get a trophy. And we've actually had sponsors and companies in the audience approach the kids afterwards and give them jobs on the spot.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm handing the kid his prize, and the guy behind him's whispering in his ear, I'll give you a job.
Like a Slugsworth at Willy Wonka. Yeah, exactly. Who's that creepy old man whispering in that 16-year-old kid's ear? Like
it's like a draft without the hats.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, what a way to showcase or to promote yourself. I mean, it's hard enough being noticed these days anyway for a job where you can, not just that, it's fun. I mean. What there's those people you meet, like I'll pick like a Sean Bertrand from CBI. Yeah. He does Security Jabber podcast. If you ever meet him, like he has
so
giddy.
much fun doing what he does.
Right. Capture the flag, hacking, giddy.
Yeah.
Find stuff, break things. Like he lives off of that. But there's like, if you can find someone like that, they're invaluable.
Well, it does
require,
and it does require that mindset. Like, I mean, you have to. You have to like puzzles. You have to like problem solving. You have to like figuring out how to break crap.
Yeah. And so we're going to do the cyber challenge again this year. If somebody wants to come on down and talk about it, we have our own conference in May. Security Day is going to be the 16th of May this year. We'll have a full slate of speakers, capture the flag game going, and probably a lot of these kids will be there as well. This year's theme is the era of disruption. And so we're going to talk about disruptive technologies, disruptive leaders, why does your refrigerator need to take pictures of your aging milk, just all kinds of things like that. So definitely come on by.
Yeah, what's really interesting about that to me is that it seems like before, in the burgeoning era of technology, there'd be a new disruptor and, everything would change and everybody would scramble to meet whatever change or be agile, and then that'd be the new status quo. And, we, as, Merit, you probably know we're the longest running research and education network in the United States. And we did the initial computer to computer connection. So our organization actually founded the commercial internet as you know it today. That was our researchers. That was our innovation along with, NSF.
Al Gore works for you guys?
Al Gore. we'll just stop there. But now it seems like really the only thing that's constant is the change. So in this era of constant disruption, of, the need to be constantly agile and constantly changing, how can we anticipate future business needs, future networking, enterprise security, hardware and software, so that we can optimize all of our resources during like a completely uncertain time? So, as Dr. Joe mentioned, this conference that's going to happen May 16th is normally sell out, both sponsorships and attendees. It's an entire full day of events.
Yeah, we went last year. It was great.
Yeah, it was.
We've got this year, Zakir Drmeric, who's the CTO of Census. You probably know him from all of the vote hacking.
Yes.
You've seen him. We've got Jeanette Hanna-Ruiz. She is the deputy CIO at Georgetown. And then for our keynote that day, we've actually got Dr. Andrew Rosenberg, who's the VP and CIO for University of Michigan. So for that event, it's actually interesting. We're actually taking presentations from the general public too. So anybody that's interested, if you have, anything along those lines that kind of meet in this era of disruption that you think would fit, it's a sellout crowd of about 600 people. You can email all that to events@merit.edu. We normally, we put it through a selection committee, and we're going to close that on March 1st. So I think that's a really good opportunity. One of our pillars, network, security, and community. We really strive to, especially at this, era of disruption conference, bring public, private, school, enterprise, nonprofit together for the cybersecurity ecosystem.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Gears are churning about submitting.
Yeah, no, I'm starting a podcast network now.
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, there was a great event last year. I mean, I know we had a lot of great interviews that came out of that. It was a lot of fun. I mean, just a lot of cool chats.
We were by the windy door, though. That's all I remember from it. Like as soon as you'd open the door and all of our
what I remember
our things were
what I remember most from it is having to pack everything up and then booking like hell over to Novi, because that's it, and it's the same time this year setting up for Motor City Comic Con.
Oh my God, that's right. That's that
because it's Wednesday, Thursday, and
right.
Thursday is set up for Motor City.
Yeah, boy,
and our event.
Like it never ends.
Yeah.
So my gears really turning is the cyber range itself. Like, this is a fully virtualized environment for people to basically just go nuts in, or
it is, and probably the thing that distinguishes us the most is we have a virtual city, and it's a virtual city, so I can spin out 30 of them. And Alphaville has a power company simulation. It has a school.
Does Forever Young play in the background?
No.
Oh.
And
nobody got that. Nobody got that.
Three
joke.
people got that. Yeah.
No, somebody check his pulse. The school's got a botnet. The library's got regular OWASP SQL vulnerabilities. The city hall has PII. We have a small engineering manufacturing concern called Zenda. So we have IT, OT, and this year we're going to take it another step further. We have partnered with the Michigan National Guard, and they have a combined arms combat training facility, a real village at Camp Grayling. And we're going to start building infrastructure there, like a water plant and a power plant. And it's hooked to the Merit network. So when the soldier comes and goes to enter the building, the hacker can unlock the doors for him.
You may have seen this on Destination Michigan on PBS.
I haven't. No.
So if you haven't seen it, go to the PBS station and check out Destination Michigan. They did an entire segment on Camp Grayling, and then the cyber.
It's on our website too, isn't it?
It is on the Merit Network website.
That's crazy, because basically it's like a simulation of things that people would run into in the world.
Exactly.
Just like the National Guard has a range with probably fake houses.
Why put out scouts when you've got cameras on people's doorsteps watching their Amazon packages? Just turn them around. Hey, there's people driving up the street. I don't have to expose myself. I can just watch them. I can track them.
So the cyber range was actually, Dr. Joe's a little modest. He's clearly known for that, right? So the cyber range is actually his brainchild. It's the largest unclassified private training cloud in the United States, and I think in North America too.
It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but for hackers.
Absolutely, it absolutely is. It's a place where you can teach. So we offer more than 42 cybersecurity certifications through the Michigan Cyber Range. It's network accessible, so you can, access it from literally anywhere in the world. We've got Alphaville, which is our virtual city, which features, all of these different environments that you would encounter in a real life. And then you can also do things to train. So we have incident response, red versus blue exercises, things like that. You can actually build your teams from the ground up in Alphaville and in the cyber range.
Yeah, we ran an exercise last October for the National North American International Cybersecurity Summit. 13 time zones. We had 12 states, 8 countries, all playing in the same environment. It was great. It was red on red, so everybody's attacking, everybody's defending. You had to really carve out your place, and
that's awesome.
Everybody trying to shut down the water plant.
Oh, it was awesome.
That's very, very cool.
So it's.
What is it? Do you want to explain what a capture the flag is for people that might not know that?
So our capture the flag is a little different. Most people have gone to a security conference and you're all in one big sandbox and, you're trying to take over the Active Directory controller or, whatever. When I got to Merit, I didn't want to do that because attacking an IP address just didn't do much for me. So I wanted to give it a sense of place. And so you can go to the Alphaville Public Library and you can look at it through your web browser and go through the card catalog and check out a book, register your library card, or you can console in and you can play around with the SQL database behind. In our Capture the Flag, it's like a video game. So everybody gets a complete copy of the game.
With a live action virtual scoreboard.
Right. So Pierrette can't interrupt Bob's ability to achieve a challenge. Well, since we've mapped all the challenges to the NIST Workforce Development Framework, at the end of the event, I can dump the table and say, Bob, you're really good with web app security. You know a little bit about programming, but you really suck at Linux. So why don't you go take this class? And so we're able to.
He can take the class in Linux through the Michigan Cyber Range because we offer 42 certifications.
And so what we're trying to do is you build people up from individual skills to small group skills to full force exercises. So that's where we get into the softer skills. The team leader has to be a team leader, not just the senior guy in the room.
Right.
He has to communicate, delegate. Those are the things that we're working them up the spectrum to do.
This is huge, like thousands of hours of development, probably to
5 years. Yeah.
5 years.
And
they just celebrated their 5-year anniversry with
we're
cupcakes.
Like all fifth. Yeah, we're like all fifth grade, 5-year-olds here. We're not quite housebroken.
They still don't draw exactly inside the lines.
It's true. But yeah, so we're doing that. We're helping other states. We're definitely a big push to help K-12 get them. Again, support things like your daughter's 10th grade class. It's one thing to do stuff in your little laptop, but let's take a step and dive into the big
theory versus practical. Yeah,
exactly.
So and we found that the high schoolers can hold their own. One of my favorite stories from the first year's high school cyber challenge, we went through round 1, scored everybody. We're contacting the teams. We contacted this team in Cadillac, Michigan, and talked to the young man. And they said, "Okay, hey, congratulations, you're in the top 10. We need to talk to your chaperone to arrange your trip to Detroit." And there was silence. He hadn't told anybody. So there's three young men, a freshman and 2 sophomores, and they made it into the top 10 in the state of Michigan. And they went and they just got one of their dads volunteered. And so I'm talking to him at the summit. He's standing in this room, and it's like, I don't know what's going on. They just kind of did this, and I had to be here because somebody had to sign for the hotel room. It's like
nice,
awesome.
We got another topic we didn't hit. We should probably bring you back on for this because it could probably take a whole segment, which is W-2 phishing.
Oh yeah. So anyway, quick PSA. It's that time of year. Do not click on links for your W-2 or your 1099s. Actually log into your bank, go find them, download them.
The top 3 things you can do. So make sure that you, if at all possible in your institute multi-factor authentication or some sort of 2-factor. Make sure that you do some kind of end-user training. Help your employees know that this is a thing, because that's probably 80% of your issues. People don't really understand that W-2 phishing exists. And then encourage people to file early, because if you file other people can't file for you. It's much harder. So don't be those people going into H&R Block at the last minute. And if you follow those 3 things, you're going to get most of your
That
results.
Statue of Liberty, though, on 8 Mile is just so enticing to go into that.
Yeah, that spinning sign gets me every time $50 free.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, I need to do my taxes because I have all my papers with me.
Right in
now.
my car. Yes, as I'm driving down. Yeah.
Pierrette, Dr. Joe, appreciate the time. Always nice having you guys on. More than welcome back anytime. We'd like to wrap things up for this episode. Actually, find you guys at merit.edu, correct? For all the things?
Yep.
Awesome.
MERIT.
Yep, got it. So yeah, we're going to wrap things up. Episode 235 here, the IT and the D Show. I'd like to thank Pierrette and Joe from Merit, Clayton, and Dan from Nuspire Networks, Foster Braun, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you to Google for keeping the lights on. We appreciate the support. On behalf of Bob and Dave and Nuri and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy. Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Rude.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe on the trees.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.